commencer avec la ouverture. Les êtres sapiens qui ont été nommés autant comme espace spécialement fait pour donner une facteur qui peut mener, ce qui crée des obstacles sur le chemin de libération à une conscience et qui a permis le bonheur pour être libre de souffrance et atteindre le précieux insurpassable. L'utilisation de bodhicitta. Pour ce jusqu'à j'éteins l'éveil, je vais appliquer mon parole, mon corps et mon esprit à la vertu. J'appliquerai mon corps, mon parole et mon esprit à la vertu. D'aujourd'hui jusqu'à demain, j'appliquerai mon corps et mon esprit à la vertu. Plus de refuge. Jusqu'à l'éveil, je prends refuge dans le Bouddha, le Dharma et le suprême Sangha. Par le mérite de la générosité et d'autres perfections, puissé-je atteindre l'état de Bouddha pour le bénéfice de tous les êtres. Les quatre intentions incommensurables. Tous les êtres sentients qui ont été nos mères, vastes comme l'espace, et le bonheur et la cause du bonheur. Qu'ils soient libres de la souffrance et des causes de la souffrance. Qu'ils ne soient jamais séparés de le bonheur qui est libre de cette tristesse et qui reste dans l'équanimité, libre des attachements et des aversions. Prière de cette branche. Que tous les mérites que j'ai accumulés à travers les prostrations, les offrandes, les compréhensions, les réjouissances, les requêtes, les prières, je dédie à la corporate aide de tous les autres. Supplication au maître Caillou du passé. Grand Vajradhara, Tiloka, Naroka, Marpa, Milarepa, Popa, le maître du Dharma, Padonigopa, le Seigneur de Kumpa. Je prie à tous les Lamakabio. Le roi Selimpa, il a reçu le nectar de la médecine du bodhicitta et a amené au bénéfice de tous les êtres conscients. Je prie le gloire à Tisha. Depuis maintenant jusqu'à mon éveil, puisse-je pratiquer les 3 passions lumineux. À travers ceci, j'atteins le parfait sublime bodhicitta et que j'amène d'être avec moi bodhicitta. Tous les vies, que je ne sois jamais séparé du parfait gourou, que je puisse célébrer le dharma, les qualités et les unis et les droits, et que je ne sois jamais séparé de l'état du Vajradhara que j'atteins au plus vite. L'offrande du mandala. choses. Sans son désir, ni précaire et ointe d'eau parfumée et l'Inde et adorné par le mont Meru, les 4 continents, le soleil et la lune. Je visualise tous ces chants de Bouddha, puisque tous les êtres soient nés dans ces chants purs. J'offre au gourou des rocaillas, de complète l'intérieur, l'extérieur, l'intérieur, le secret et l'incité. Les offrandes, Heure, mon richesse, tout ce qui peut y être. Et je prie pour l'insurpassable suprême Shri. Maintenant, c'est la requête de le Dharma. S'il vous plaît, tournez le du Dharma pour le plus grand et le moindre des véhicules en accordance avec les dispositions mentales et les capacités des êtres sentients.
So, in with the liturgy text that begins with Namo Guru Ratna.
Dans le texte du Chod,
means to prostrate.
Namo, ça veut dire se prostrer.
And Ratna is the precious teacher, and the precious guru, prostrate. And so then the text begins, so there's a commentary, and so the text first begins with a verse of paying homage, and so the homage says, so to the one who reveals the natural state
à celui qui révèle l'état naturel,
beyond the extremes of eternalism and nihilism.
Des extrêmes de l'absolutisme et du nihilisme.
Conceptual elaborations are completely pacified.
Et qui pacifie toutes les élaborations conceptuelles.
In offering in offering to Lord Jesus.
Des prestations en hommage à Rinpoche Dorjee.
And then there's the next verse is a commitment to complete the composition of the text. And so that verse says, I will briefly explain the essential points of this profound teaching, which is the method for accumulating merit through
La méthode pour gagner la mairie.
I will explain this using few words that contain vast meaning and will bring forth inexhaustible results.
Avec des résultats infinitésimaux.
And this text is called the Kusali Feast Accumulation and Practice.
Donc, ce texte s'appelle
it comes from the profound
Chod
of Lord Chaitanya Sundar, and it said that it is to be practiced by yogis in 4 sessions, or 3 sessions, or 1 session.
3, 4 ou 1 session.
When Milarepa explained the meaning of Chod, and he said that going through frightening mountain retreats is the outer Chod. So that refers to going to terrifying places like channel grounds and so on, places that trigger one's fear. That is the outer Chod. And he said offering the body as food is the inner Chod.
Donc, l'acceptation de faire notre corps comme nourriture, c'est le Chod intérieur.
To be free of self-grasping towards
ça nous libère de soi et de
single essence is ultimate Chod, and so what it means to come through the single essence is that it means to recognize the natural state of the mind and then remain within that state, practicing within that state, single-pointedly. And then when the Ripa concludes, other is these 3 kinds of Chod.
Pratique, bien entendu. Ultime étant la dernière.
As Tunyin asked the question to Majid Labdun, and Tunyin was Majid Labdun's son. And so her son Tunyin asked her a question and said, so how, Mother, how is our Islamic tradition of Chod so more profound superior to other Dharma traditions?
C'est curieux par rapport aux autres traditions, il disait.
And Matilapton replied,
Donc sa réponse était,
listen, my son,
écoutez-moi mon fils,
this Mahamudra tradition of mine
tradition actuelle de Mahamudra, qui est mienne,
is supreme and more profound
est
than
suprême
other
et plus profond
traditions.
que toute autre tradition.
Its essential points
Les points essentiels,
like his instructions are unlike others. It is truly an uncommon, special teaching, unlike other teachings.
pas comme les autres,
Is the essence
c'est
of
un
all
approfondissement différent,
Dharma.
et c'est
It is
l'essence même du Dharma.
the peak, the summit of all vehicles.
C'est
It
le
is
plus
the
haut
heart
point,
essence that unifies the sutras and the tantras into
le
one.
sutra et le tantra en
It is the Dharma that liberates the four maras in
c'est
their own
le Dharma
case.
qui
And so
libère
we
les
will
4
speak
maras.
of those four maras a bit later.
On va
It is the
expliquer sur
supreme
les 4
method
maras
for
plus tard.
forcefully abandoning the five poisons.
C'est une méthode
It is
pour
the act
abandonner de force les points
at its root.
et couper
It is the so that is
ses racines.
that means that the main point of truth is to cut through self-grasping.
Donc,
And it
le
is
principal, c'est de couper
self-identification with the
les attachements et
and she said it is
reconnaître le non-soi.
the powerful force that destroys the 80,000 types of obstacles.
Force
It is
très,
the
plein de pouvoir
supreme medicine
qui
that
contre
heals
les
the 404 kinds of diseases. And so that is because there is no more grasping to the body. We cut through the self-grasping of the body's truth. And so when there is no self-grasping, then there's also no basis for any physical illness.
Comme il n'y a plus d'attachement de soi, il n'y a plus de base pour les maladies.
Service will bring you to Buddhahood in one life.
Donc le Chod peut vous amener à la modalité
without deferring the result to future life.
dont repousser le résultat des vies prochaines.
Unlike other Dharma traditions, it is
C'est pas comme les autres traditions
Unis
dharmiques,
special Dharma.
c'est un dharma très spécial.
And then, so next, this is called the Kusali Chod practice. It's the first, the meaning of Kusali. So the term Kusali literally refers to like a beggar, a poor person who has no mundane possessions.
Someone mendiant qui n'a pas de possession mondaine.
Kind of worldly life. And Master Doctrine says that the Kusali offering, the feast offering, is superior to other feast offerings 100 times.
Supérieur à tous les autres.
Then Richen Dorjee explained the meaning, and he said that a Goswami practitioner is one who realizes all phenomena of samsara and nirvana of this single dharma. And so the Goswami practitioner is one who has no self, no self-grasping, and who has completely cast away all clinging to a self. So that is what we refer to someone who practices Goswami practitioner.
Donc, le vrai pratiquant Kusali serait une personne qui se libère de tous les attachements.
And so cutting through attachment to one's own body and life, and offering the body as a gift surpasses any material offering. It's because we cherish the body above everything else, and therefore offering the body is greater than any other act of offering.
Et donc, du coup, cette offrande-là est bien supérieure à tous les autres, car ça coupe à travers cet fort attachement. Du soi.
And next is a summary of the meaning. So it begins with
un sommaire de sens du cœur, donc une explication des 4 mandats.
The different traditions, and it begins with
différemment selon les permissions.
according to the sutra tradition. So according to the sutra, the first Mara is the Mara of the aggregates. And the Mara of the aggregates refers to our body, and it specifically the attachment to the body. It is because of the body that we experience a lot of sickness and pain, of happiness and suffering. And so a lot of our is experienced on the basis of our body. And it's also with the body that we commit many negative actions. So it is the body of the 5 aggregates, which are the containers of the support for all the sufferings of samsara. And so because it is the basis of suffering, it is called a demon, the demon of the aggregate. And second is the Mara of afflictions. Elaborately, they speak about 84,000 afflictions, which all arise from improper mental engagement. They are summarized into the 5 poisons.
5 poisons
it is the misconception, the improper mental engagement here is in grasping at the impure as pure, and suffering is happiness, at the non-self as self.
On regarde les choses pures comme impures comme pures.
These afflictive emotions, these misconceptions, they drive us to various actions, virtuous and non-virtuous actions.
Porte vers des actions qui nous sont négatives.
Bring us to the cycle of birth and death.
Et après, on est attaché au cycle de la naissance et de la mort et des renaissances par les pouvoirs karmiques.
Shri is the Mara of the Lord of Death.
Donc, le prochain, le troisième, c'est le Mara du Seigneur de la mort.
Fully practice because we may not live long enough.
Donc, on n'est pas toujours en capacité de le pratiquer parce qu'on ne vit pas assez longtemps. Donc, on ne sait pas contre le mort va survenir. Donc, on sait qu'on va mourir, on ne sait pas quand. Donc, au niveau subtil, à chaque instant, on se rapproche plus de la mort. Donc, c'est l'impermanence instant. À chaque instant, il y a un changement en nous, en notre corps.
Permanence, the approach to death is by definition a state of suffering, and that is why it is called the demon or the Mara of the Lord of Death.
Ça s'appelle le démon,
and number 4 is the Mara of the Son of the Gods. So that really refers to distraction, wasting the life, our life, of our time, doing meaningless things, delaying.
Le temps à faire des choses sans but.
It says that like putting things off, our life
procrastiner, faisant les choses.
Obstructs our practice.
Ça obstrue notre pratique.
And nowadays, especially today, this becomes more and more of an issue.
Ceci devient de plus en plus
spend all of our time playing on our phones, scrolling on the internet,
scroll sur
and then all of our time is gone.
Temps sur les téléphones.
All of our time.
On passe le temps sur les choses sans sens.
Constantly chasing after outer things.
Chassons les choses extérieures, c'est des distractions.
Prevents our practice.
Et ça nous nuit à notre pratique.
Due to this, because it constitutes an obstacle to our practice, it is referred to as a Mara, the Mara of the Son of the Gods.
Donc, on l'appelle le Mara ou le démon de tous les dieux.
Jidung Sungan said that
Jidung Sungan a dit que
in the Bongshi, that in the best practice is
the meilleure pratique,
wondrous, especially in a feast of the yogis.
Donc, c'est le festin interne des yogis qui court à travers tous les mandats.
And these teachings, so that is Jiten Zungan's solitude is concise in words, and they're vast and complete.
La solitude de le Seigneur Jiten Zungan est concise en soi, très synthétisée.
And possesses great blessings.
Possède des grandes bénédictions et tous les contraintes.
The main sections.
Il y a trois sections.
The main practice,
les préliminaires, les pratiques et les conclusions.
So first, as a preliminary, there's an explanation of the thigh-bone trumpet.
Donc, dans le préliminaire, il y a une explication du trompette en os. Donc, il y a trois noms différents.
Thigh-bone flute, the
Donc,
thigh-bone trumpet, and
l'ossement de la hanche.
thigh-bone trumpet.
Donc, on parle de trompette avec les ossements de la hanche. Faites avec les ossements de la hanche, pardon.
Then, so it is referred to as a human thigh-bone trumpet. First of all, human because
la hanche humaine pour faire cette trompette.
Possesses the six constituents, the six elements, and it is said that the being possessing those six elements has the greatest power.
Donc, l'être qui possède les six éléments, il a seulement
it's tongue, and which is kind of like the leg or the thigh bone, and then there's dung, which is something that you like a horn or like a trumpet. So that's the Tibetan word gangdung for that the thigh bone trumpet. And so the gang, the first syllable, because the word is explained. So the term gang, which means like the leg, the bone.
Ça veut dire
the
la jambe.
It signifies an unwavering faith.
Ça symbolise la foi inébranlable dans le guru, dans les gammes,
les deities, and the Dharma protectors.
Et les protecteurs du Dharma.
So the leg because one is standing firm in devotion. So
la jambe, ça vient de la jambe parce qu'on est ferme dans notre dévotion.
Different meanings. So it's here is the sound of the trumpet. And sometimes the way that the same word is translated is something that is like heartfelt, like something that comes from deep within, like from
parfois on traduit ça comme étant quelque chose qu'on ressent pleinement depuis tout le fond de notre cœur.
Each sound of the horn is a sign of the yearning and devotion towards the three jewels. It's one explanation, and an alternative explanation, it expresses as standing in firm loving kindness and compassion.
Ça tient en termes d'émotion avec
And then
Bodhicitta.
Dung is the compassionate calling, the yearning.
C'est un appel à la compassion, à soif de compassion.
Wandering helplessly in the three realms of samsara.
Donc pour aider tous ceux qui errent dans les trois royaumes du samsara.
So then the corpse, the dead body that is being offered, and that represents it symbolizes the freedom from dualistic. It represents the turning away from samsaric existence or worldly activity. It's a sign of cutting through the poisons. So then it explains the different parts of the trumpet. So first of all, it comes from the scores, and second, it has a round, it is round at a bone formation, and so that symbolizes that the Kagyu teachings will remain firm.
Donc c'est un symbolique que les enseignements Kagyu resteront fermes.
The tip of the right side of the trumpet is cut, that is a sign of cutting, severing doubts and misconceptions.
Donc ça coupe à travers les conceptions fausses.
There's the cavity of the narrow cavity, and that points to abandonment of worldly activities.
L'abandon
Then two holes, there's two holes in the thigh bone, right? And these are signs of the division between samsara and nirvana. And so now that is, as long as there is dualistic grasping, it's that samsara and nirvana are linked. There's a division. And then holding it in both hands. So you're holding the trumpet in both hands is a sign of meditating continuously on impermanence. And then it is blown in the 4 directions in all directions, proclaiming, pervading all the frightening places. And when it is straight ahead, it awakens the compassion in sentient beings on the surface of Earth. And when it is blown sideways, it guides the beings below the Earth on the path to liberation. Then it is that we should not separate it from the continuously holding without separation. So it is actually also a Tibetan tradition, but it's really emphasized here. I was bringing it with us. And then it should not just serve as a mere decoration or status symptom or causing any harm or disruption to others. Why you carry this perfume, and also you carrying it with you because it serves as a continuous feature of impermanence, and it also becomes an offering to the levels of gas, which we will discuss later. So there are 4 levels, 4 types of gas. Guests, and then the lower guests for whom this offering is made. So the beginning of project how to get the chugogola. On page 9.
Donc sur la page 9.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So on page the same text on page 5.
Pardon, la page 5.
Sadhana.
Dans le sadhana.
1 second.
Il y a un petit doute sur la page.
Okay, yeah. Okay, minus on page. Okay, yes. So it begins, so I don't know if you have the same text, but in the beginning it starts with so Rangni Yichi Yum Chamo in Tibetan, and then the self is instantly transformed into Krishna Paramita and so forth, the body of its golden color and so on. So
transformé.
So this is where the practice begins, and where also the trumpet is played for the first time. And so when Bible trumpet, Martin Lapdran explained that when sounding the trumpet for the first time, so you should visualize in the following way. So at the first blow of the trumpet, which comes in a little bit later, where we see on the next page, on page 3, we say Gie. So Gie, all sentient beings, and so on. So when we say Gie, which is like, which means all of you beings, listen up. So you're sounding on the trumpet, and you drawing the attention
Donc là,
of all beings.
appelle l'attention de tous les êtres.
Awakens sentient beings.
Ce son qui réveille les êtres sensibles.
Doing their things in the three realms of Samsara, doing the individual activities, whatever they're doing.
Dans un activité individuelle, ça les appelle à se rassembler.
Whatever they're doing, and they now pay attention. So they all now listen with focused attention. And then with the second flow,
avec le deuxième son de trompette,
now gathering them to come here. So first you told them,
on rassemble les gens,
now he's saying, hey everyone, come here. And so now they are being summoned. So
première fois, ils vont être en individuel, les appels, et puis là, ils se rassemblent.
Actively gathering here. And they are gathering just from their respective places. And then with the boom of the trumpet, we think that now all these beings are actually here. Now they have gathered together, just like a mass of beings gathering under a big tree. So they need a big tree. So now you think that they all have quickly gathered before you. They are demo rồi. Ni long cô yo mà rồi. So this at the Rinpoche shows here, this is called a bear skin visor. So it's made of bear skin.
Ce qu'on nous montre là, c'est une visière qu'il faut porter pendant la pratique.
The black part that represents the unchanging Dharmakaya.
La partie noire représente Dharmakaya qui ne change pas.
Springs of hair, people coming down. So these strings of this hair strings.
Les cheveux qui tombent sont un signe du Yamanakaya qui manifeste.
And then it's at a circular rim there, and that is a sign that of being firmly sealed. Firmly sealed with it represents bodhicitta.
Ça représente le son qu'on est vraiment scellé dans le bodhicitta.
And the Jugi means, So there's another extensive church practice called Dapo Juring, or the extensive church of Dapo.
Donc, il y a une autre façon de pratiquer,
Meaning of the visor, the bearskin visor, and says
explique
that
mieux le lisière
says that through the practice of the view, through remaining in the view by
faveur de fait qu'on reste dans le bon
in the
vision
view,
des choses.
and that with that one has the ability to outshine everything else.
La capacité de outrepasser et de passer au-delà des distances. Donc, en termes de chemin sur notre chemin sur les voies.
And next is the explanation of the Dhamma drum, as it is the truth drum.
Donc, le prochain vers, c'est une explication du Dhamma, la patrie.
Part of the indentation, the narrow part of the drum.
Oui, Venerable avait parlé de patrie.
The junction,
Le tombeau,
the
plutôt.
crossroads of samsara and nirvana, and the juncture of samsara and nirvana.
De l'habillement de ce tombeau, ça symbolise les cheminements de samsara et de nirvana.
And so that's a sign of this sort of narrow part. This is
Donc, le
the
côté
sign of that.
mince, c'est un signe de nos doutes.
The broad, flared upper edges, so it is narrow on the
Côté plus large,
on the outside of that is flared and broader.
à l'extérieur,
And it's a sign of
c'est symbolise
nirvana, so it's all these ups and downs.
montée et descente. Samsara et nirvana.
And there are two sides that are of the drum that are covered in skin, so that the part that you play the drum on.
Donc, il y a deux parties qui sont couvertes de peau, c'est là où on
relative and the ultimate truth, or the
ça symbolise la vérité conventionnelle et ultime.
And so then there is an empty and space within the Dhamma room.
Donc, à l'intérieur, il y a de l'espace. Ça symbolise l'accomplissement du Dharmakaya pour l'exercice. Les ornements
adorning the drum.
Qui adornent qui habillent le tombeau.
And then there are the two beaters, so the two strings with which you beat striking each side. And those two beaters striking either side, they represent the manifestation of the Nirmana Kaya.
Donc, représente la manifestation de Nirmana.
The sound that comes from playing the drum is a sign of summoning the darkness and the dark things.
C'est un symbolique pour le son, il appelle les dakini, les dakars.
Actually, Kawataru. Oh, okay. And then, so then there is the three-sided banner. So this is from a banner. That has three sides to it, and that is a sign of the non-attachment to the three realms of samsara.
Ça symbolise le non-attachement aux trois royaumes du samsara.
With a triangular shaped banner. And then there is a mirror at the center. And then
Il y a un miroir à fond.
These are these kind of detailed smaller ornaments find on such a drum. There is a mirror in the center, a small mirror. That is a sign of dwelling in a state of luminosity.
Donc, ça symbolise de rester dans un état de luminosité.
이예연 가래독 이예연 디 답시 성조디 가래 So you can see the Drupon is pointing. So inside there is on both sides, on either side there is some knots. I guess made out of threads, and so these represent being knots being on either side are a sign of the union of method and wisdom.
C'est symbolique de
substances like materials. For example, some are using like ivory, beads, or of pearl or coral.
L'ivoire, de recevoir des ornements en perles.
The drum, and so it says here that the ivory ornament
les ornements en ivoire.
Refreshing, fresh, unforgetting mindfulness.
Symbolise la vigilance mentale.
Coral ornaments are a sign of blending of the major and the minor marks. And then there's this fluttering silken ribbon, the lower part, the silken ribbon part that's flowing down. So that is the sign of the five wisdoms. Then some braided hair, strength, hair itself. The hair ornament represents is a sign of benefiting throughout samsara. And then these braided hair, and that is a sign of firmly maintaining the three higher trainings. And then as also small bells, and they are
les cloches.
claiming fame and renown of the Dharma throughout all the 10 directions. And then there's also a little book, and that little book is kind of in the middle part of that silken ribbon that's hanging down. So that little book binds the silken banner together, kind of in its middle. And that hook that is affixed on that banner symbolizes a sign of holding the lifeline of liberation.
Symbolise, contient la lignée qui mène à la libération.
So then the practice in the sadhana begins.
Donc la pratique
but please right at the beginning. There's preparation, cultivating bodhicitta.
Avec préparation et cultivation de bodhicitta.
Beings in the limitless universe to liberate them from their suffering and lead them to the supreme enlightenment state Buddhahood, and determined to serve myself in the yoga of developing merit by offering my body.
Notre propre corps pour se faire.
And so that is the four immeasurables. We first need to develop the four immeasurables.
On va développer les 4 incommensurables.
Joy and equanimity.
L'amour, l'argent, l'équanimité, la compassion.
Et
prendre l'engagement ferme.
Those four immeasurables. And before
Et ces 4 incommensurables. Avec l'amour et la compassion.
To summarize that, it all comes out of great compassion.
Pour de nouveau sommaire de ça, tout parvient de la grande compassion. Tout émane de la compassion. Pardon.
And then so regarding these four immeasurables,
donc, lors de ces 4 incommensurables,
loving kindness, compassion,
amour bienveillante, compassion, bodhicitta,
are the life tree of my Dharma tradition. This we send forth
donc la force de notre
love and compassion, immeasurable love and compassion, to even the most
immeasurable,
malevolent spirits or beings. And we draw them from close, and then we offer them freely our body and our life, our possessions. We bit of power that we hold. And so now the main offering here is the offering of the body. Because if we are able to give away our body, then but of course it's quite difficult to really freely give away one's body. And so, anyways, then she continues. So I'm offering, I'm drawing the fear, and the offering to them, our body and so forth. And then by satisfying them through our great compassion and generosity, then we lead them to enter the path of enlightenment. So this is the essence of my Dharma tradition. As but Drupon also clarifies that it's not a beggar in the sense of the beggar that we associate that so it's not just about just the words not having anything, but what it really, even though that's the word, but what it really means is it means humility. Being very humble.
D'être humble et de ne pas avoir besoin de grandes possessions.
Then, she did something that, for example, when powerful kingly spirits, like Drupon spirits, which are very powerful spirits, and some powerful spirits and other humans and non-humans, such as like local spirits and so forth, create obstacles. If one generates immeasurable love and compassion toward them, then their harmful intentions naturally resolve.
Leur intention malveillante sera résorbée.
As a result, they become your friends, your allies, and even
résultat, ils deviennent nos amis.
Of the Dharma.
Donc,
however, he says that if you try to tell them instead,
si on essaye de les proposer avec la colère,
substances and wrathful mantras, because demons arise from the mind itself, then
les démons proviennent de notre esprit propre,
meaning that by attacking them with these wrathful substances, their anger and
leur colère ne fera que grandir. Leur pouvoir
also, I just remembered when in the old days when he stayed in Tibet in the Pana monastery, his home monastery, and so accompanied some monks there in the evening one to pray for her. There was this monk Shrika who had a huge attack, the book, and he that they go and they did their recitations to pray for her. And so we had this large volume was broken, so he said like may the Buddha grant you refuge, and the Dharma grant you refuge. And every time he said that, he would like hit her on the head with this huge book.
À chaque fois qu'il enseignait, il tapait sur son étudiante avec le livre.
So after that, we kept hitting her on the head with this
Et puis
book.
il a continué sur la tête avec ce livre.
She was getting better. She was that she really had a headache. So
D'un certain temps,
hitting her over the head, obviously. So also regarding that, Pater Rinpoche said in the Words of Our Perfect Teacher, so when we practice Chod for others, sometimes people become very fierce. They try to look really wrathful. They come with bulging eyes.
Par exemple, l'enseignant qui a un souhait d'avoir l'expérience avec les yeux qui sont exorbités, etc.
Mantras and so on.
And
so then maybe he said that maybe some humble ghosts will run away from that, but the big ones, they won't go anywhere.
Fuir, mais les plus gros démons juste devenir plus féroces.
Then we come to the main part of the practice.
On en vient au point principal de la pratique. Page 4.
So the meaning of that mantra is I am pure by nature. And so here we should recognize that all phenomena are pure by nature, meaning that they possess existence as me or mine. There's no self that ever existed from the very beginning.
Il n'y a aucun jour, aucun mois inhérent qui aura existé depuis le temps au commencement, et le temps.
And the next is it has a text pet. So the pet, the meaning for the pet is explained by Milarepa, and Milarepa said the outer pet is gathering scattered thoughts, gathering scattered thoughts.
L'extérieur, le pet extérieur, c'est de regagner tous les pensées qui se dispersent, de ramener l'esprit.
And he said that awakening dull awareness is inner pet. That is when the mind gets dull, sluggish, then
la pratique mentale, quand on récupère la vigilance mentale, c'est le paix intérieur.
When thoughts arise and you then say a forceful pet, then
quand on le force
several thoughts and you return to remaining in the natural state of the mind. And then the concludes with is there a yogi who holds these three pets and can proclaim them?
Quand on peut proclamer les trois, on est en mesure de contenir notre esprit. comme une pensée, avoir la vigilance et la concentration.
So then,
Ensuite,
then for the power of the pet, so the pet is an especially powerful syllable.
pour l'initiation à cela, le syllabe, il est très puissant.
Can pacify angry minds
Simplement entendre le fait
so it overwhelms them and calms their
l'esprit colérique.
So it is a powerful syllable that is capable of subduing anger just through uttering.
Soumet colère.
And so then, however, because it's so powerful, the pet, when it is pronounced very forcefully, it can also actually shatter the hearts of the minor demons. So these are those little demons. So we should feel for those poor little demons. So if we say it randomly, that we just shatter their hearts, but they're so small and poor, like just the pet could just shatter their hearts, then that's a harm on our part.
Diable pourrait poser le cœur des démons. Donc ça nous amènerait un karma négatif.
So that is why we should not say a powerful pet just randomly. I mean,
donc on doit pas le faire sans cause, pas à la légère.
Is that if 108 powerful pets are sounded,
si 108 paix
actually, so one after the other, then any demon, no matter how strong, can be destroyed. And again, that's why
tous les
we should not be careless.
Donc, peuvent être détruits. Il est important de ne pas le faire sans cause, pour ne pas avoir de mauvais karma.
Then Matilapton also explains the meaning of the pet.
Par expliquer le sens du
It
pet.
consists of actually two syllables, the pa and the ta. The ta, so pa,
Donc,
pa, ta.
les syllabes avec le te et le te.
System
explique dans mon système dharmique.
Refers to the paramita of perfection.
Ça fait référence au paramita de la perfection.
And then pa refers to the unsurpassed secret mantra, and therefore that is the essence of the sutras and the tantras.
Donc, voilà. Aussi de sa référence à l'essence même des sutras et des tantras.
So merely saying the syllable pet has many infinite qualities, but mainly
selon le syllabe,
simply saying pet, one can cut through the inner self-grasping and
l'attachement et pacifier
or demon.
Tous les démons à l'extérieur.
Also understand that really through that, cutting the that, as a result, one can understand an understanding of the real nature of things.
Donc, on coupe à travers les attachements et on obtient la vision de la vraie nature des choses.
Yeah, Drupon Richen Dorjee it is so now because that's how Marava didn't mention on the so we are about any lunch you have part or any kinds of the man also that is on Chamashambala Chimbadangara. We then come to the church visualization where
Donc là, on en vient à la visualisation du pratique de Chod.
The body. And so for that, you first visualize the body, the central channel in your body. One of your fingers, and its upper end
central.
It opens at the crown.
Donc ça s'ouvre sur le chakra de la couronne.
And just below the navel. And the gathering of one is a practitioner of the generation and completion stages.
Si on est déjà pratiquant des générations,
the consciousness of your consciousness at heart.
La conscience au cœur.
Window drop with a reddish glow, and the size of a small bird, and the sparrows are a bit smaller than usual bird's egg. And so regarding that, also because as we've heard back in Tibet, that some say that you also think the reason why you do that is to think that this window of consciousness that is at the heart that contains your life force and your
force vitale.
Or you offer your body, you want to make sure you take that kind of with you in the consciousness, and you put that in your consciousness.
Son corps, bien entendu, on va récupérer cette window de conscience de la différence. Sort de corps.
Don't want to totally lose your life force. You want to retain your life force.
On veut garder notre force vitale.
So then you, what is it? So here. Okay. So, just take this short as correct. Chayin. then comes the visualization of Vajrayogini. So your consciousness goes out the body, and so then in front of you, and you transform. So this consciousness then transforms into Vajrayogini. And so then you visualize that form yourself, consciousness in the form of Vajrayogini.
Et on se visualise la conscience en la forme de Vajrayogini.
Red body color. She has one face and one face and two hands.
Donc, visage de main croisée.
Her hair is flowing down. She is adorned with the five crown ornament of five dry skulls, and then the five bone ornaments. And in her
des os et des têtes.
And in the left hand a skull filled with blood, and then at her shoulder, the crook of her arm, she leans a Khatanga staff, and she appears as a 16-year-old youthful, and she is vibrant, and her the left leg is she has the silken ribbons, and then her left leg is bent, and the right leg is extended.
Donc, sa jambe gauche est courbée et sa jambe droite est étendue.
Then you visualize your consciousness as Vajrayogini, and
donc, on visualise notre conscience étant un avec Vajrayogini.
And think of it as a very radiant and fresh and endowed with all good qualities. So don't think of it as some kind of ordinary forms that it's very kind of lifeless and ugly and
c'est pas important
see it as something that is really gradient and
comme quelque chose de radieux avec plein de qualités.
And also it is a mass. So if you think of it as just a small body, then many spirits couldn't be a small body. So it
penser juste comme
so becomes beings that satisfy them. Then next is head, and so then after that,
donc après
before then there is also under the corpse, then there appears first a wind and fire mandalas. So first
mandala de vent et de feu.
From calm arises a tripod of three skulls. from Yang arises a wind mandala. And so the Yang, wind mandala, circle shape, and also it is adorned with two silken banners fluttering on each side of the circle, wind mandala. And then there is above that from Ram comes a fire mandala. And then from appears on top of that, then appears the tripod, a tripod made of 3 skulls.
Là, survient le trépied avec 3 crânes.
Then next is pet, and then with I think that with watching a kini, which is your own awareness in space.
Donc,
And then with
conscience de notre vigilance, notre conscience dans l'espace.
Then or view your awareness. Then slices open the corpse's skull, so it chops off the corpse's skull. And then upon being touched by the skull, then comes to rest on that tripod, on the top of tripod, and then visualize this skull cup as white side and red on the inside, and as fast as again pet, and now that your corpse is then lifted and tossed into the skull bowl.
Tout est mis dans la crâne droite.
Down the wind mandala, the wind steers, and the 2 banners flutter, and then that ignites the round fire, so that the fire
allume le feu de rame.
Begins to the wind and fans the fire, and the fire then off the skull cup, inside of which is your corpse, and then that melts the body, the flesh, and then it all melts, all impurities, all
tout ça fond, tous les impuretés, tous les obscurations.
Of bubbles overflows from the boiling substance. And then what remains is nectar, like a substance that is red color and referred to as the Samaya nectar.
On appelle le nectar du Samaya.
And so then in Sadhana, then it says, so after the corpse is melted, then from the Amrita and the skull cup, light emanates and spreads in all directions. So then
Puis ce nectar, la lumière émane et brille dans tous les directions.
all directions, and it reaches the hearts of all the Buddhas in the 10 directions.
Tous les cœurs de Bouddha et des directions.
The wisdom, and it evokes the wisdom of those Buddhas, which is then drawn in the form of white nectar, which flows back, and this nectar then dissolves, inseparable with the Samaya nectar in the skull, and in this way transforming it into pure wisdom nectar that is now white with a reddish glow.
Nectar de la sagesse blanche avec un lieu de rouge.
Are the syllables Jahung Bambu in the text, Jahung Bambu Omahu. And so so then so first with Zam, we think that light rays in the form of hooks emanate from your heart, meaning your heart as Vajrayogini, the awareness in space. And so hooks emanate from Vajrayogini's heart, and and these light rays in the form of hooks, the blessings of body, speech, and mind in the form of white Om, red Om,
blanche,
and then with
rouge et bleu.
Yeah, and the Jahung, so that the second syllable here, the Jahung, the Hung, then that with Hung, the 3 syllables, this Omahung, dissolve into the Samaya nectar.
Donc les 3 syllabes se dissouent dans le nectar de Samaya.
Into one, just like water poured into water. And with Hung, blessings are sealed.
Donc ces bénédictions sont scellées.
Separable, so
ils sont indivisibles.
Sealed as a blissful nectar.
Donc c'est nectar de félicité.
So then in the end, the wisdom nectar at this point then is white with a reddish glow.
Rouge ou blanc avec un nuée de rouge, c'est pas vrai?
Perfect in all qualities, perfect.
Parfait en toutes ses qualités.
Excellent, perfectly endowed nectar.
Donc parfaitement nectar parfait avec toutes les qualités. Doté de toutes les qualités.
Also, as a side note, so this part of the Sunghansku solitude is referred to
du texte de quelle solitude
so we often speak about 3 kinds of beast. There's the white beast, there's the red beast, and then there's mixed or variegated beast. And so this particular one, the solitude, has an emphasis on the white beast.
Là, on parle de festin blanche rouge.
Variegated beasts are superior to all other forms of generosity.
Festin supérieur à toute autre forme de générosité. beaucoup plus suprême en matière de tous les actes qu'on peut faire. Mes excuses pour le faute de traduction.
Pada apa saja dia. Sambil kalau coklat kalau pada sungsung. Pada apa saja jadi bila reba kuda musuh sama re sama ini jadi kata apa saja kalau sungsung. There's a story of family rebound.
Attends, il y a une histoire de Minerapa quand il a rencontré Maître Sangha. Il a reçu l'enseignement du Matin.
You should go and meet him. Won't you go and meet him? So Minerva followed that prophecy and went
Minerva a suivi cette prophétie.
And so he was looking for him. So on the road he met other travelers and he asked them where's Madame Sangha. And they said a person who sleeps in that inn, in a guest house. And so Minerva thought maybe that must be him. So Minerva went there, but then he also thought to himself, well, I've heard that Madame Sangha he had this unobstructed clairvoyant powers. So
les personnes disaient, écoute, j'ai entendu que Sangha avait cette réalisé ses réalisations.
And so that was the Madame Sangha that passed by that flower. Not just seeing it as a normal flower.
Donc, la Sangha est passée devant en regardant ça comme une fleur normale. Après, Minerva s'est dit, bah, écoute, il n'est pas clairvoyant parce qu'il n'a pas reçu que j'étais en fleur. À un moment donné, il a marché sur cette fleur, sur Minerva, sur le fleur. Après, il lui a demandé pourquoi vous avez fait l'élimination en tant que fleur. Il était venu hier soir pour qu'on ait déjà un festin chez la clinique.
And then we asked him, so in any ways, what is your assurance at the time of death?
Donc, il demanda à Minerva quelle est votre assurance par rapport au moment de la mort. Quelle est votre réalisation? Quelle est votre assurance?
then after that, Venerable said, so since Austrian yogis are coming together and have now met, we should perform a feast offering together, a sober offering together. And then Padma Sangha says that, well, you are from here, I'm a guest coming from India, so you should really be the one making the offering.
Donc, voilà, il disait que c'est vous qui venez de l'Inde et puis c'est pour vous qui devez être en train de faire l'offrande.
Di kapal na nakalusong? Oo pa. Thank you very much. Jadi Venerable did them to the flag, go down, go some gay, how much shit, any part of us, I guess, correct so. So I don't know. So that they had their feast offerings, and when the Venerable agreed, they had their feast offering.
Eu les offrandes le festin.
Was the one offering it, so
et du coup, Milarepa a fait l'offrande.
Miracle of offering his own body, so
il avait le miracle d'offrir son propre corps.
Body in there. And so first went through the tumo on fire, he caused the fire to blaze, which
Donc,
caused
avec cette technique de tumo, il a posé le feu et a tué ensuite l'offrande de Chod.
Then also emanated gas, like
a émané le festin en offrande pour les invités.
Venerable Sangha also manifested a certain number of deities, so they had all these guests coming here. And then at the end,
de déité.
Sangha then said, he was quite impressed with Venerable's quality. So he said,
impressionné par les qualités de Milarepa.
Inequality in realization.
Ses qualités, ses réalisations.
He is that in India they are generally vegetarian.
Donc, la seule différence, il s'est dit que en Inde, ils sont plutôt végétariens.
People don't really eat so much meat. So he said that that may be the only. So then
donc, il s'est dit, c'est ça la seule différence avec le Tibet.
Together with all the many guests that they generated. So then Venerable Sangha said that there's no difference between our qualities or our realization.
Donc, il n'y a pas de différence entre nos qualités et nos réalisations.
And so with that,
je n'ai pas besoin de vous, vous n'avez pas besoin de moi.
Before that, Venerable did say, but please give me there's this Chod instructions.
Donc, Milarepa a toutefois demandé les instructions pour pratiquer le Chod. Et Padma Sangha a chanté cette chanson.
our lineage of disciples.
Et il a dit à l'avenir le lignée de disciples. C'est un peu bon, je pense.
Then attached again a pet, and then it says with the
Ensuite, il y a de nouveau un sol.
context with the skull in your hands, you scoop out the amrita.
Donc, avec le crâne dans le
and then the hell beings now is sprinkled over the hell world, transforming it into the Buddha land only.
Donc, en fait, transformation vers un terre pure.
Also, you scoop some of that nectar, scatter it on all the hell realms, and then like this,
le tasse de crâne on bénit les royaumes des enfers avec le nectar.
Here, it seems to be just referring to the one Vajrayogini. There's some other text that about many forms of Vajrayogini emanated.
Donc, plusieurs formes différentes de Vajrayogini qui émanent.
Text that says that from the heart of yourself, the Vajrayogini, many other Vajrayoginis emanate.
De notre cœur, en tant que Vajrayogini, émanent d'autres Vajrayoginis.
Very clear in this text that there's just one Vajrayogini.
Il n'est pas si clair dans ce texte qu'on semblerait qu'il y a une seule Vajrayogini, mais en fait, c'est effectivement plusieurs.
Transformed into the pure land of manifest joy, and that becomes pure.
Transforme tout en pur, loi manifeste.
So this first section was purifying the place.
Donc, cette première section purifie l'endroit où on pratique.
The beings of the hell, so when it says again by the touch of
Après, il faut purifier les êtres.
All are purified.
Donc, après, donc, les êtres des enfers sont purifiés avec les gouttes de nectar.
By executioners, afflicted
donc, ils sont tourmentés, figés par la colère, tourmentés par les... Tous les êtres qui se trouvent dans cette situation sont purifiés.
So as the nectar is sprinkled on the hell beings again, so it pacifies the tormented by this henchman of hell.
Les personnes sont purifiées et plus tourmentées.
The hatred and their own minds, which in the first place causes hell. So it is the hatred or anger causes this the heat and the cold experience of the hell realms. So that is also suffering, being burned and frozen and there's 3 obscurations of body, speech, and mind become purified, and all
L'expiration du corps
they
du corps et de
transform
l'esprit
into Vajrayogini.
et les êtres transforment en Vajrayogini.
Come to
Après,
ghosts.
on
Again, first purify the place, and then
et
the
on
ghost realm.
purifie
So
le
again,
royaume
always
des esprits affamés, les esprits avides.
the nectar and scatter it across the hungry ghost realms.
Donc, pour le nectar,
Then
on
transforms
disperse
the land itself into the pure land of Vakanishta, and then it purifies the greed, which is the
purifie donc convoitise.
Greed and stinginess, and having purified that affliction into the wisdom of equanimity,
Purifiant ça donc la sagesse de l'équanimité.
Turns into the glorious pure land.
Donc, c'est l'endroit, le royaume des êtres avides, donc l'esprit affamé se transforme en terre pure d'Akanishta.
And again, pet, and then again, you sprinkle the nectar on the ghost again, and this time it pacifies
disperse le nectar sur les êtres, les esprits affamés.
From external obscurations, internal obscurations,
leurs obscurations externes internes,
and the three obscurations, body, speech,
trois
mind,
obscurations du corps, du corps et de l'esprit, sont transformées et se dissout en Vajrayogini.
So by sprinkling the nectar on the hungry ghost again, so it's liberated from this external obscurations.
Le nectar sur les êtres affamés.
Certain obscurations where they have no external access to food.
Donc, comme ils n'ont pas d'accès externe dans la nourriture,
Food,
ou possibilité de consommer de nourriture,
then there's the inner obscurations,
il y a
that is
des obscurations internes, presque des obscurations externes.
Belly, so on.
Les nourritures ressemblent à, ils peuvent consommer, ressemblent à un boule de feu dans le ventre.
Suffering, the torment of hunger.
C'est une espèce de tourment qui vit.
So when the three obscurations are purified, and these are actually not body, speech, and mind, but they are karmic obscurations.
Donc, en fait, les trois obscurations ne sont pas le corps, par le corps et l'esprit,
Obscurations of afflictive emotions,
mais les obscurations karmiques.
Obscurations to omniscience, or the cognitive obscurations, and then the obscurations of
karmiques.
And when they become purified, and purifying them, then all the hungry ghosts themselves become Vajrayogini.
Donc, en purifiant cela, les êtres avides, les êtres des affamés deviennent eux-mêmes Vajrayogini.
And then again, as a pet,
donc, un seul corps fait.
Scoop the nectar and now scatter it on the realms that transforms it into a pure land.
et on transforme tout en terre pure.
So then with that, the place of the animals becomes purified, and
donc là, on purifie maintenant les royaumes animaux.
Of animals becomes purified,
donc l'ignorance des animaux se purifie et les transforme en sagesse et dharmalati.
Wisdom, the land of the animals becomes the densely arrayed pure land.
Donc, du coup, le royaume des animaux devient aussi un terre pure.
And then again, we sprinkle nectar.
Donc, on verse du nectar sur le royaume des animaux.
Their sufferings of living in boldness and ignorance,
les souffrances de vivre dans l'ignorance.
Purified, and they transform into
l'obscuration, et puis eux, à leur tour, se transforment en Vajra Yogini. Je pense qu'il y a un petit problème avec le son voyant. C'est la traduction depuis le départ.
Sorry, can this one out? Handphone sometime. Handphone Sangha thì cái là thì ám sinh nhật thì không phải. Yeah. Uh-huh. So we sprinkle the nectar on the animals again, and then their suffering is purified, and so on all the animals have different planes of existence. Some live in the waters, in the oceans, and some live on the surface. For actually greatly, and it is said that actually of the 6 realms of samsara, the worst realm to be born in is the animal realm. And so we think that you have purified their sufferings and their 3 obscurations, and they become Vajra.
Donc là, on peut penser qu'on a purifié leur souffrance.
So next then comes the human beings. So now you think that scoop the nectar and scatter it on the human realm, transforming the human realm to a pure.
Le nectar, on le disperse sur le royaume des humains, et ce faisant, on purifie leur souffrance.
But then having purified the attachment into individually discriminating wisdom, the human world becomes Savati. So the main cause of birth is desire or attachment. So when that becomes purified, then of humans becomes a pure land of Sukhavati or dimension.
Après avoir purifié cet royaume, ça devient le territoire de Sukhavati.
So then next again with pet, we sprinkle the nectar on the human ground again.
Disperse de nouveau du nectar sur le royaume.
Beings are purified and they all transform into Vajra Yogini.
Tous les humains se retrouvent purifiés et se dissouent eux-mêmes et deviennent, se dissouent en Vajra Yogini eux-mêmes.
So then the humans, regarding the human suffering, humans experience many kinds of sufferings. So there is first the three main kinds of sufferings. There's the suffering, the all-pervasive suffering, the suffering of conditioned existence that really every being experiences. Everyone has this conditioned suffering of conditioned existence. And then there's the suffering of suffering, which is
Manifeste, le souffrance de la souffrance, comment on l'appelle?
Then there's the suffering of change. For example, you might be happy in the morning, but then you suffer by night. And then as humans, we have experienced the four sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, and death. And Venerable Drupon said that these are the four sufferings that everyone experiences. Not just you, not the moment that everyone has these sufferings. And in addition to that, humans also suffer from the fear of meeting enemies or meeting that which you don't want to meet. And then the suffering of being separated from loved ones. And then to keep what they have. And then disappointment, failure of not finding what they seek. So the disappointment is not getting what they want. Also said that the rich suffer from being rich, and the poor suffer from being poor. All beings suffer, and therefore you should apply yourself to Dharma practice.
C'est ça avec la pratique du Dharma.
So in brief, the five aggregates are suffering by their very nature.
Les 5 agrégats, c'est de la souffrance par leur propre nature.
Said that busy and anxious, exhausted by work, burdened by debt, tormented by illness, harassed by spouses, fearing enemies, attached to children. Human suffering, it resembles human itself. Meaning of his quote is that we are busy and anxious, exhausted by work, so we rush around the day, we're exhausted every day, and then we're burdened by debt, but we take a loan, but then the lenders can't wait to take it back, so they want to get it back right away. So that's a burden. Then we get sick, our spouses give us maybe a hard time. We work all day. Then troubles and sometimes also there's this worry of meeting with an enemy, just feeling unsafe. And then there's the attachment to children. You're always afraid something will happen to them, separate from them. And so said that the human suffering is really like hell. So humans suffer 11 kinds of suffering. So then all these sufferings of the humans, like birth, age, and sickness, death, and so on, are purified, multiplied, and then the obscurations purified. So again, it's the obscurations of conflictive emotions, of obscurations. They are purified, and then all humans transform into Raja Yogini.
Et tous les humains se transforment en Raja Yogini.
So somebody may wonder what this sort of Chod practice of giving one's body away like that is. What I
On pourrait se poser la question pourquoi on doit offrir notre corps dans la pratique du Chod.
On suffering for the suffering of others. Giving.
Et c'est vraiment la pratique d'échanger la souffrance des autres pour la nôtre.
That
l'esprit de Bodhicitta.
Before the self.
Placer les autres devant nous.
To alleviate the suffering of all beings.
L'esprit qui souhaite enlever la souffrance des autres.
Practices, it says all suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own. Person Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. Therefore, immediate change the opportunities for the suffering of others is the practice of the Bodhisattvas. So this is really this kind of offering in the Chod practice. It is because we are giving all suffering. And even if you're not able to totally give up self-grasping, at least
Si on
we
ne veut
can
pas se libérer complètement de
lessen it. And if
la
we can
personne de
lessen
soi,
our grasping, we will also
si on
lessen
veut réduire,
our suffering. Because the
on
more
réduit aussi
you
nos
grasp
souffrances.
yourself, the more you cling to yourself, the
Le
more you
plus
also
on
suffer. That's something
tient
we
à
also
notre
observe
foi
very rapidly.
inhérent,
So here in the truth practice,
le
we
plus
are
on aura des problèmes.
giving away our body because this is our
Pratique
greatest grasp. If we
observe
are
son
able
corps,
to give away our body and our fixation
de
of
lâcher
being
une
this
fixation
body, if we
affective.
cannot give this up, then
Si
we
on
can
peut faire cela,
naturally also give up all other forms of self-grasping.
on peut aussi se libérer de toutes les autres formes d'attachement.
Generally, as a church practitioner,
Ouais,
the point is that we
pratique
are
en
giving up
méthode,
self-grasping, and so,
on doit se
but then
libérer de l'attachement du
often
soi.
it's not exactly what we do. We don't give it up. For example, that's Drupon just remembered back in Lapchi,
Souvent, on ne peut pas le faire
monks
complètement.
there was a monks who belonged to the Lapchi monastery there.
On se souvient d'un qui était au monastère, au Tibet.
Of the other church practitioners.
Et
And so at night they
jouer des autres pratiquants.
to be ghosts and try to scare fellow monks. And then the fellow monks
envers ses collègues moines, un fantôme, pour faire peur aux autres moines. This is one story Drupon remembered from back home, his homeland. Donc,
there was this girl who was sick, and family invited a well-known church practitioner to perform a ritual for her to heal her illness.
And il a invité un pratiquant pour faire une cérémonie.
Yak-haired hen, so they were staying in this yak-haired hen, the whole family, and the sick girl was there. And they also had other kids. There was one young boy there, and the family was generally around the girl, but that little boy couldn't sit still. He was just running around the whole time, and so
le garçon ne pouvait pas s'arrêter et courir partout.
Side of him,
Les parents ont dû le vu.
Perform the rituals, and so while he started the rituals, the boy, he had a little rope, and he kind of a thin rope, and he attached, he tied one side of that thread, that rope, to that church practitioner's robe, and then he took the other end outside of the fence, and take it out underneath. And so then he was on the other side, outside of the tent, and he was pulling on, and so that since the church practitioner was supposedly gathering the demons, and he started getting scared, and he quickly tried to finish the ritual. So he just basically said, may you be blessed. And he put the Dhamma on her head, and he tried to get out of there. And then the mother was looking for the boy, and then she found him pulling on that.
Mère trouvait le garçon qui tirait sur les fils de robe du pratiquant. Donc, il a eu peur de ça, ne sachant pas que c'était un enfant qui voulait.
And then so we continue to the demigods.
Là, on peut continuer sur, avec un P et donc, là, maintenant, on va sur le rang des demi-dieux.
The demigod ram, transforming the ram into a pure land.
Là, on purifie tout son royaume des demi-dieux et elle devient elle-même interpure.
And so the main cause of birth as a hungry spirit is jealousy.
Donc,
so then
the
jealousy becomes purified.
C'est la jalousie.
The main cause of demigod ram is jealousy. And jealousy becomes purified, and the demigod ram then turns into, or the jealousy becomes the all-accomplishing wisdom, and the ram becomes the excellent activity.
Et donc, ils sont tous capables maintenant d'activités éveillées.
And then again, sprinkling the nectar, and then their three observations are purified, and the demigods also transform into Vajrayogini.
Et tous les demi-dieux se transforment en Vajrayogini.
And so the demigods mainly suffer from their jealousy. It's because they see how God enjoy all the divine pleasures, while the demigods feel trapped. So they can enjoy all of these pleasures, but they don't. And so they become very jealous and resentful for gods. And with that rage, and they wage war against the gods and our so that becomes purified by sprinkling the nectar on them, and purifies all their torment minds from jealousy and their suffering from conflict and warfare. And the three obscurations are purified, and they become Vajrayogini.
Purifiés et ils se transforment eux-mêmes aussi en Vajrayogini.
So we stop here for this morning.
On va s'arrêter là pour ce matin. Donc on va faire les dédicaces. Donc, glorieux, vénérable, précieux, lignée Guru, racine et lignée de Lama, assemblée divine des Idanes, assemblée des Bouddhas et Bodhisattvas, héros, héroïnes, yoginis et assemblée de Dakini, vivant dans les directions, écoutez-moi. Par le pouvoir de ce vaste racine de vertu, que tous les êtres sentients, à travers ma parole, mon corps, mon esprit, que toutes les afflictions de désir, de haine, d'ignorance, de fierté, de jalousie ne peuvent pas passer dans leur continuum, dans leur esprit. Que toutes les idées de reconnaissance, réputation, richesse, honneur ne soient pas présent dans mon continuum rien pour seconde. Que mon continuum ne soit pas, que mon continuum soit édifié par le bienveillance, l'amour, la compassion, la félicité, et que à travers ça, je deviens un maître spirituel avec des qualités raffinées à l'espace, que je puisse atteindre le Mahamudra dans cette vie, dans la vie actuelle ou dans le bardo.
Again in the afternoon at 2 p.m. Chicago time.
Thank you, Drupon. Merci, Drupon.
Thank you, Drupon. Thank you, Ina.
Merci à tout le monde. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all the translators. Merci à tous. Donc, pour le bénéfice de l'enregistrement, nous allons prendre une pause et pour donc, sur l'horaire européen, donc heure de Paris, nous recommençons à 21h.
Do we know if we're starting an hour early compared to the schedule tomorrow as well?
I think tomorrow is the same time. Yeah, it's 11:30. What we've said is 9 to 11:30 for the Chod practice. 9 to 11:30.
Okay.
Okay, because on